Well, hello there. As you may have noticed, if you're watching the regular stream, we're back. We did happen to get a game in tonight, and it's good. We're making progress. Let's see what happened. Let's do the thing. The thing is sort of designed to make me think of all the things that happened, and I've noticed before. Can't find my mouse. I've noticed before in some of these that I wind up like completely leaving out or skipping over and skipping around and stuff. So let's see. We're still in the Acropolis of the Thrall Keepers. We did finish it tonight, um, as I had thought we would. There wasn't a ton left, although they did do it all. They're definitely exploring the dungeons. That should give us good mojo for the next several sessions because they're all pretty linear in that way. Depending on what happens. Um, so the Moon Temple is coming up next. I'm reasonably sure they'll dispatch the beast. There's a red raider monster, whatever it's called, in there. What's it called? Red Reaver. Um, and they're just going to tear him a new one, as they do. There's so many of them, and they're so powerful. I don't expect it to be much of a road bump. And when they do, then the leader is going to want to see him kill Cindermaw, and that I dropped that, foreshadowed that a little bit. Crojan wants to do that himself, so we'll see how they handle that, if they think of that dynamic at all. But there's no real wrong answer there. It's just sort of an interesting recall. I prepared all of these things, and I grabbed a Canyon battle map with Fantasy Grounds support from this wonderful author at the DM's Guild. Let's see if we can do this. Yeah. So I just grabbed this map. It was $3. For me, it's hard to turn that down, just in terms of like I didn't have to bring it in, I didn't have to put line of sight on it, etc. We haven't used it yet, but I think we will. If they go fight Cindermon, this will be where he is. Anyway, so conversion. I didn't use the Red Mantis Assassins tonight. No real need to. They'll come back one more time, at least, in this upcoming series of events. So keeping them around. Crojan is going to come back at least once, as well as and his Thundercallers. I left the Cosmic Horror in there in case they made a bunch of noise. They didn't. They also didn't interact with it at all. So one of the players in the group is a Warlock, and he's a Warlock of that type. And I've dropped several direct hints of character roleplay opportunities. I would think somebody that was a warlock of that type would want to reach out to this creature. Didn't happen, so that's fine. It's not important to the story, and if the player is having a good time, then it doesn't matter to me. So for the Larun Qua, the Moon Clan Moon Maidens, I stole a monk out of one of the adventures and modified them just a little bit. Changed their darts into star knives. No big deal. For the star knife, it's mostly modeled after a dagger. So the module that I'm using lets you load the 3rd edition content, as mentioned before, and it's almost right. On the types, I just took all the dagger type text, so finesse, range, da 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 da. Copied and pasted that into the Star Knife's entry, and I think it's fine. We'll see if it's bugged, but I don't think it will be fine. And some of the players received a few Star Knives tonight. So basically, it's a dagger that does slashing damage instead of piercing damage. Did anything? I don't know. Whatever. Androsphinx became the Red Reaver with his magic removed. So it's CR 17 with all the magic. I'm sure it's probably CR 12 without, but we'll see. I left the roars in place because that seems pretty significant, pretty in tune with the creature. But yeah, this is a lion-esque thing that flies and bites and such. Good AC, good HP. It's probably fine. And I'm sure they'll tear it up. I give it 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds, but especially because they're full rested. For Cindermaw, I adapted a purple worm, so that's ready, and that should be an interesting fight if they go down that path, and I'm reasonably sure they will. So yeah, just recapping. New pins. So the Moon Maiden there's a magical star knife. There's some +2 or +1 star knives that are on offer here in a little bit. The regular star knife, the Red Reaver, and the Cinder Maw. So here's what I thought they'd do. I thought they'd get their marks. Corrosion would lead them to the Moon Temple. They'd kill the Red Reaver and get offered the Cinder Maw hunt. We got about half of that. Oops. It's Grammarly. Grammarly doesn't like me to say what actually happened. About half. They all took summoning. Let me type that out for my own notes, and then I'll come back to that. And good role play. So that was good too. So yeah, they got led to the Moon Temple. They met. They agreed to kill the Red Reaver, and that's where we cut it off because it was 9 p.m. The Thrall Keeper's encounter as you go into this globe, and you're able to choose: do I want the left hand or the right hand? The one of the hands lets you summon, and the other hand lets you banish. For the Dungeon Master, Game Master's perspective, right, on both of these spells, these are both a giant pain in the ass. If they had all taken banishment, for example, they could step to just about any encounter in the game and just banish everyone in it. Just gone, right? Which would make for short encounters, at least for the minute or so that the creatures stayed banished. And they could, of course, if they were to encounter, say, 6 things, they could banish 5 of them and then bring them back one at a time and chew through them that way. They didn't, thankfully, but they did all choose the summoning. So to sort of try and have some semblance of game balance in here, since the banishment was a 5th level spell, I gave them a 5th level summoning spell. Thanks to Fizban's treasury, I was able to do Summon Draconic Spirit. I need to stat that guy out, so I'll need to remember that for next time, because we're going to have now 6 or 7 Draconic Spirits in play at a given time. They're able to summon it once per day. But yeah, it's going to be lots and lots and lots of things on the battle map. Thank you, Fantasy Grounds, for making that even possible, but it will still be slow and chunky peanut butter as we move through. Here's what it is. I don't understand why the mark is in the story. I don't remember anything from the prep about why this is a significant event. It seems like they could have skipped this whole event. I don't understand why everybody gets a spell per day sort of blessing out of this high powered stuff. But you know, it's Pathfinder, so that'd be why. And the role playing was good. I straight up told them that the last room was a trap, trying to encourage them, nudge them into skipping it. They didn't. They dove directly into it to sort of challenge the trap and figure out what was going on and how to beat it. And it's impressive, you know. I mean, I don't regret it. I don't think I would have done it any differently either. I think it is what it is in terms of, you know, I had intended for them to skip the room. They did not. But that's okay. You know, the dungeon is there to be explored, and we're probably never going back to that particular building, so fine. All well and good. So for next week, we've got the Red Reaver fight prepared. We've got the Cindermaw fight prepared. Those 2 fights and the conversations around them will probably take the entire time. I do next need to prep what happens when they come back from Cindermaw. There's a whole encounter thing there, and then that will close out this section of Chapter 4. That assuming that they do all of these things, then, you know, after they kill Cindermaw, there won't be any greater feat that they can do to prove themselves worthy, and so they'll get their audience to the Sun Speaker, and he'll tell them exactly what's going on with the dragons, and this will harken back to the painter, and this will sort of tie everything back together and make this whole trip somewhat worthwhile. There's an opportunity to go back to town and crawl a dungeon. It's completely optional and probably unnecessary. It's there to pad the levels and the content, you know, page count of the module, and it may very well get skipped. I'll think about it, but I don't see any reason to actually run through it at this point in time, other than completionism, which I'm kind of into that, but also kind of looking at being glad that we're getting to the end of this one. It was a big one, major commitment here. So, yeah, as always, questions, comments, leave them if there are any. Feel free to reach out to me directly. Have fun playing your game of choice, and I hope everything goes well for everybody. If there's anything I can do to help, I'm glad to. Thanks for listening. Got probably about 30 more of these to go, so bear with me, and we'll see how it turns out. Talk to you soon.